Yes, 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 yes. We are live.
Welcome back.
Hello. Yep. Welcome back. We wanted to, you just got done doing a interview with CBCS President Steve Borak, but I'm gonna go ahead and say he has absolutely nothing to do with this one. Um, welcome everyone. I am Lonnie,
I'm Mark.
and we're Untitled Nerd Network. I guess this would be considered an offshoot of comic book malarkey. This is more like political malarkey. Hey,
Political malarkey.
that would have been perfect. Anyway, if you have been
You
paying
haven't been under a rock
yes,
for the past 10 days.
well, not only past 10 days,
Well, let's
but
say the past 2.5 months.
yeah, the last week of October, Untitled Nerd Network endorsed Joe Biden for president. That worked out very well for us. Just because I had the thought of if Donald Trump wins the presidency, I do not want people to think Untitled Nerd Network was in any way okay with that happening. And so luckily, Joe Biden won, and then over the next couple of months, all hell broke loose, and Donald Trump tried to stage an insurrection, and protesters marched on the Capitol, and we had riots.
At his instruction.
At his instruction, yes. Oh,
Let's not forget that.
Just a heads up, this is going to be a very, very, very political talk show, and I have no clue how long it's going to last.
For the 6 of you that are here, strap in.
Yeah, we very much are left leaning. I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all, we're not trying to toe a middle of the ground line. We're not trying to sugarcoat anything. We're not trying to do anything. We are. Well, never mind. I was going to be like, we are to the left what Rush Limbaugh is to the right. But no, we're not. I'm not going to compare myself to that asshole.
Do you know what the difference between us and Rush Limbaugh is?
What?
We still have a streaming service.
Oh! Okay.
They took him down.
So I'm kind of just experimenting here. This is the first time we've ever done a 100% political talk show. Like, we're not really discussing nerd stuff. And here's the reason.
But here's the thing, though. Even though we are nerds, we exist in the real world. And the real world, it goes back to something somebody said, okay? You may not be thinking about politics, but I damn bet you that your boss is thinking politics. The people that you interact with on a daily basis are thinking politics. The government around you that decides what you pay in taxes is thinking politics. So if you're not that heavy into politics, I can get that. But I've learned, because like back when I was in my 20s, I didn't care less. But now that I'm like in my 40s, I'm a parent. Damn Skippy, I'm involved.
This is funny because I have been reading the newspaper on a daily basis since I was in middle school. And I've always been very in tune. Like, I counted from probably the time I was probably 11 or 12. I counted the days until I could vote legally.
No, the day I turned 18, I signed up to vote automatically. But I mean, back when I was like 18, my 20s, it was okay. I didn't dig into people's platform.
Yeah.
Like, I've gotten more involved in, okay, what is this person's platform? What is, how is this going to affect me since I've gotten older?
Back in the last week of October, Untitled Nerd Network endorsed Joe Biden for president. We all got together. It was me, you, Amber, Clockwork Calamity. Didn't Jordan show up?
Yes, Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan was here. I feel like we had one more person. Okay. Yeah, and so that we all got together. We endorsed Joe Biden. We kind of gave our 2 cents. And to be completely honest, not all of us love Joe Biden, but he was a hell of a lot better than Trump. A hell of a lot better. Like, it wasn't even a contest, because I'll be like, both me and you, neither one of us had Joe Biden as our first pick.
No.
I had Bernie Sanders.
As did I.
I am a diehard, I'm not even going to sugarcoat this. I'm a diehard Democratic Socialist. I think that a lot of what we do should be completely revamped and, redone, because I think that our capitalist society is a complete joke. I think our healthcare system needs to be completely wiped off the planet and replaced with something that actually benefits the people, not corporations. And I think, like, being completely honest, whenever I was a young adult in my early 20s, I was I was pressured so hard to go to college. And I ended up going to online college through the University of Phoenix. And I stayed on the phone with somebody for maybe 20 minutes. And next thing I knew, before I even knew what had happened, I had like $30,000 in student debt.
Yep.
And to be completely honest, I didn't really know what I was getting into. I had no clue.
There was something I saw the other day. There was this doctor who posted. She goes, just to let you know that I have just completed my 8 years of medical school. I have took out $130,000 worth of student loans. I've been paying on my loans while I was in school. I've managed to pay $10,000 on my loans, and I'm glad to tell you that I now owe $132,856.
Yeah. And I mean,
the hell.
You hear that a lot. You hear that from a lot of people online, whereas people are like, hey, I've had this student loan. I've been paying, I've paid $10,000 on it, but I still owe, $8,000 more than
the
what
principal.
Fortunately, during the pandemic, student loans have kind of went on hiatus, and they're not even, I haven't even gotten a phone call from anybody telling me, hey, you owe anything.
Oh, I keep getting phone calls from people trying to scam you into, we're calling about the relief program.
Oh, yeah, I get those all the time. I just ignore those.
But so to get us back, what really made us sit down and decide to do this is today's the 10th.
Yep.
4 days ago, Congress met in a joint session. Now, take note. While I am left-leaning, I am also a constitutional.
Yes.
Okay? Congress met to certify the electoral votes of the election. And Trump, okay, let's not even say his name, the sitting president,
yes,
attempted to pressure the vice president into overturning that vote.
How'd that work out?
Which is a power that he does not constitutionally have.
Yep.
And here's a quick civics lesson for you. When Congress meets for the joint session on the 6th to certify the vote, Vice President's job, open up the box, count the votes, announce the votes to Congress, see if anybody has an objection. And here's the thing. It does happen. It happened back in 2016. Okay? It happened back in 2016. In 2016, several Democratic senators and Republicans challenged some of the electoral votes in some of the states, but it wasn't as blown out of proportion. I think that the problem with this year is that even before the election, Trump started the sitting president started a conspiracy theory that if I lose, it's rigged.
Yep. That's been going on for more than a year. He did that
in 2016.
Yeah.
He said that if he lost the election in 2016, the only reason he would have lost is if it had been rigged.
Yep.
When he lost primaries he was running for, he said that he lost because they were rigged. So he started this conspiracy theory. So let's go ahead and lay this out. 60 court cases were thrown out due to lack of evidence because of no fraud. Because there was no fraud whatsoever. No evidence or nothing. And here's the thing. What about the signed affidavits? I can sign an affidavit saying the sky is green. Unless I can prove it, it's hearsay in court. And we've already got General Flynn has more than proven that people are willing to lie for this president and go to jail for him.
Yeah.
So
because they will be pardoned.
Yeah. I fully expect him to pardon everybody that's been arrested so far in connection with what happened on the 6th.
We've got on Facebook. I'm going to be taking intermittent comments in the chats. So we are simulcasting across Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. On Facebook, we got Brad who says, "Why can't we draft Elon Musk? He thinks a lot." I trust rich people about as much as I trust politicians. I'll just go ahead and throw that. And he is now officially the richest person in the world. And
no, the guy Bezos. Bezos has more money than Musk.
Not now, he don't.
Oh, really?
They announced either yesterday or the day before that now Elon Musk is the richest. His wealth went from like 22 billion this time last year to like 240 billion over the course of a year.
And Gamer Jamie pretty much boils down to don't get mad at each other about politicians because all they're doing is cashing checks and letting you be mad at each other. That's just kind of a paraphrase of what Gamer Jamie said. And I have to agree with that. That's proven by, at any rate.
The only politician that I 100% trust is Bernie Sanders. I do.
I do. And even some of his stuff I disagree with.
I do. I disagree with him on some things too.
But at least he seems to care about us as a people.
Yeah,
and I love the fact that
he's been consistent.
That Biden thought, like, Biden and him sat down and talked about him taking Department of Labor, but they both agreed that they don't want to risk Vermont putting a Republican in and losing control.
Yes.
So I think that was a good Jackson Flowers, feel the burn.
Yeah!
Yes, feel the burn.
Woo!
But anyway, make no mistake. On the 6th, the sitting president, his son, and his personal lawyer. First off, they invited these people. Here's the problem that I have. They invited all of these people to Washington. Come to the 6th. It's going to be a wild Wednesday. Amber says to check your messages. Said it's going to be a wild Wednesday or whatever day it was. So they invited these people to the Capitol. Then you had Giuliani saying we need trial by combat. You had Trump Jr. saying we need to fight. Then you had Trump saying we're going to march down to the Capitol. I'll be there with you, which was again a bold-faced lie because he did not march down there with him.
He was there in spirit.
But he said, I'll be there with you, but he went and hid in the White House.
Yes.
And these people went into the White House because Pence would not overturn the election. They didn't go into the White House. They went to the Capitol building looking to lynch him.
Yeah.
They were calling to lynch him. The one guy that just recently got arrested had zip ties.
Yep.
The guy from Knoxville.
He was also a former Air Force. What is the deal with all the Air Force?
There was two different guys. There's the one guy that had the zip ties was not former Air Force, but the guy that was next to him was Air Force. And then the domestic terrorist who got shot and killed was former Air Force. Which I love that, and I'm sorry. She was apparently like the day before she was on Twitter talking about a storm's coming and nothing can stop us. The bullet stopped your ass pretty fucking quick.
Yeah, like I'll go ahead and tell y'all, I've said this numerous times. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. This is a. Damn, I broke my pen. This is a pretty rough time in the history of our country. People are watching us right now. People around the world are watching us and
laughing.
They're wondering what in the hell is going on here. And I think a lot of people are genuinely scared because they don't know what's going to happen. Like, nobody knows if Trump is going to somehow weasel his way back into power. They don't know if, Trump is going to push the button or... Which, speaking of...
they actually had it... Nancy Pelosi went to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff told her, no, we have checks and balances in place. He can't...
There are, because what happens is he has codes. He has to get with like two other people. They all have to have the codes. They all have to have the key, and they have to turn it at the same time, and they have to... There's a system in place to keep some crazy rogue leader.
Can't press one button.
Yeah, he doesn't have a red button on his desk where he's like, ding, 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 launch. And no, that's not going to happen. But yeah, our country is in a really sad state right now. It sucks. I can't wait to get Trump out of power, but I'll go ahead and tell you, once he's out of power, his followers will live on. He's like the closest thing to a real world Hydra at this point.
No, he is, and again, this goes back to if there are no ramifications, if nothing happens to him, he will run again in 2024.
Yes,
and we will have a repeat of what happened in Germany with Hitler, because Hitler tried a coup in Germany, and it failed, and then I think it was 8 or some odd years later, he became chancellor.
I saw a very interesting thing this morning when I woke up. I was doing my morning scroll trying to wake up. And somebody, basically mentioned, Republicans are saying, we need to move on, we need to heal. And they're like, yeah, just like y'all healed from Hillary and Benghazi. Like, what was it, like 8 years ago when that happened? And y'all are still talking about
12
it?
12 years ago at that point.
And yeah, we should cut off the head of the snake. But like I'm saying, the Republican Party has been hijacked. It has, I don't think the Republican Party has been hijacked so much as they're...
more Nazis.
Yeah, they're the darkest part of the Republican Party has come to the forefront.
Well, I think the best thing that I saw about it is Arnold Schwarzenegger put out a video yesterday that said pretty much that, he grew up in post-Nazi Austria.
Yes.
And, he got to witness his father, who had been a member of the Nazi Party. He said most people who were member of the Nazi Party, and I think this applies to the Republican Party at this point, most people who were members of the Nazi Party didn't believe all the rhetoric. They just went along with it.
Yeah.
So while, the majority of the people who are the quote unquote diehard, Trumpansies, as I like to call them, they are, they believe the conspiracy theories, they believe the QAnon bullshit, all of that. But then there's the other Republicans who are just going along with it because they feel that this is the way that their party should go.
You know why the Republicans are so, they have their heels dug in right now? They don't agree with a lot. They don't agree with most of what's going on in the Republican Party right now. But they are afraid of the Democratic boogeyman.
Well, no, actually, at this point, the majority of them, like, for example, let's take Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, Josh Hawley, who, and I'm sorry, that y'all are going to have to forgive my language, They're talking about Ted Cruz needs to renounce, the current president. Well, he has to take Trump's dick out of his mouth to do that. And Josh Hawley needs to renounce the president. Well, he needs to take his dick out of Trump's ass to do that. Those two aren't going to change. Lindsey Graham flipped, but didn't. Mitch McConnell still hasn't it wasn't until right there, it's like, here's the funny part. On the 6th, they got together. All these Republicans were going to object to the votes. Then the coup happened. People came into that building and tried to kill them. And they came back. And then only half of them were still like, oh yeah, we're going to object. Those people, those 8 senators who didn't flip because of the coup, and I think the 60 some odd representatives who didn't flip, they need to be taken out of office.
Yes.
You've got a West Virginia. There was a West Virginia representative, from the state representative, the state house, who got arrested because he was in that crowd. He stormed the Capitol.
Yep.
But the one that gets me the most is there's a representative. She's a representative from Wisconsin. I want to say Mary Miller, or as I call her, Eva Braun II, who was standing in the Capitol of the United States of America, quoting Hitler.
Really?
Yes. She was out there on the green before, they convened Congress, and she was giving a speech to all the supporters, and she said Hitler had one thing right. And then she started talking about Hitler's youth initiative.
Yeah,
this is the hearts and minds of the youth.
Just to let everybody, this is from theguardian.com. Illinois Republican Mary Miller, sorry for quoting Hitler in Capitol speech. In a statement, Mary Miller of Illinois said she sincerely apologized for any offense given. When she told a crowd at the U.S. Capitol Hitler was right on one thing, he said, whoever has the youth has the future. Our children are being propagandized. She paraphrased Hitler, who in 1935 told her,
she quoted Hitler. That's all you need to say.
Not only that, but here's the thing. Trump was right. The only reason that a lot of these individuals are flipping now is because Trump has been for sure removed. Like, he'll be out in like a few days, 10 days from
10
now.
days.
And they have lost the Senate for sure.
Yes.
And while there was still a possibility that they could hold on to that power, like
they were full on.
They were holding on to Trump for political purposes. They didn't agree with anything Trump said, but they didn't want the Democrats to take power. And that was 100% the reason.
And also, it goes back to what Trump said. They don't want to get a mean tweet from Trump. They didn't want, because, and think about everybody that's like, look at how quickly he turned on Pence.
Yeah.
Pence, who has been the most staunch supporter of the president.
He's vice president.
Besides just being vice president, he has not once said anything bad about him.
Never even disagreed with him.
Told him the day before, I don't have the power to do what you're asking me to do.
Yeah, even if he wanted to, he couldn't do it.
Constitutionally, I don't have that power. And when he went in and started that count, Trump said, our vice president didn't have the strength to do what he should have done.
Yeah.
We are going to march on the Capitol.
Yeah.
The best I can give, and this is something that I found, there's a guy named Colonel Perez, and he's on Parler, which thank God is gone. But this is what he said 2 hours.
For now.
This is what he said 2 hours afterwards. Today, Eric Trump said that we should physically fight with the Patriots to save our country. Today, Representative Mo Brooks asked the Patriots to pledge our life and wealth to fight for our country, and today, President Trump told us to fight like hell. If you are listening to this, and you do not think that President Trump incited this insurrection coup, you're insane.
Here's this is the $1 million question. I think if we could answer it, we could solve all the country's problems.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got, all these people, a lot of these people, me and you, we see this for what it is. We see it as a coup. We see it as an insurrection to take over the country, to maintain power.
And the majority of people have seen it that way.
But if you ask a lot of the people on the Republican side, they're gonna throw up.
Oh no!
They believe that the election was fraudulent. They believe that there were votes and stuff. These people aren't wanting to just hold on to power. These are people who legitimately believe the lies of Trump, that their vote doesn't count because they were screwed over by the left, that there's some big conspiracy. Right. How do we get past that and convince these people? Because I'm going to go ahead and say this is the same side, the exact same group of people that 160 years ago lost the Civil War, and 160 years later, they're still saying the South will rise again. That's the same. There's a lot of overlap in those two groups. So how do you tell people who have been pissed off for 160 years that, hey, let's get past this and don't be pissed about it for another 160 years?
There's no way to. I mean, you can continue telling them the truth. I mean, and here's the funny part. So let's look at Wednesday again. This is how deranged this mentality is. They talk about Trump derangement syndrome, but it's on that side. You have all these Trump supporters, right? We're gonna march. We're going to march on the 6th. We're going to go. The president invited us.
Yes.
And then all these people stormed the Capitol. Oh, that was QAnon. That was Black Lives Matter. That wasn't Trump supporters.
Yes, exactly. And
what?
But yet all these people that they are saying, this Trump has been the architect of this since the beginning. Since he first said Obama wasn't born in America.
Yep.
That was when it started.
The birther movement.
And then at that point, once he announced his run for president, suddenly everything against him was fake news. He started to, fake news became a, motto of the right at this point.
And alternative facts. Don't forget alternative facts.
Well, yeah, I haven't heard that in a while. But every time I get on Twitter, locally, it's horrible. And every time, like News Channel 9 here in Chattanooga, Channel 3, whoever, every time they post something that paints Trump in a negative light, it doesn't matter what it is or what kind of proof. You could have Trump, like
he said it himself.
Yeah, like,
I could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and no one would do anything to me.
Yes.
And he proved it on the 6th.
Yeah.
Because it's been, 4 days now?
Yeah.
No impeachment, no 25th Amendment, no nothing.
Yeah.
He incited an insurrection and a coup on the 6th and has faced absolutely zero repercussion. And the majority of the people on the Republican side of the House and the Senate are saying, we shouldn't do anything. We shouldn't impeach him. We shouldn't do anything.
We should move on and heal as a nation. Come together. Yeah.
He was right. Because he's a con man, he's a grifter, and he knows how to sell the snake oil.
Not to mention, that side, the Republican side, would rather keep a criminal in the White House as give up their power.
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah. Like they don't care how horrible a person their leader is, as long as they're not a Democrat. That is seriously, the Republicans could, I honest to God think that Satan himself, like somebody could show up, be like, hey, I'm the Antichrist, I'm Satan incarnate.
I want to run for president.
I'm running for president as a Republican. And I do believe the evangelical Christian population that makes up a shit ton of this country would vote for him specifically because he isn't a Democrat. And that is the fucking stupidest thing I've ever heard.
And here's the question that I want to know. What is so radical about what the left wants? We want affordable health care for every American in the country.
Yes.
What is so radical about that?
We want affordable health care. We want you to be able to get an education without
having to go into debt.
Yes.
We want you to be able to get a job that you can afford to live off of.
Yeah.
What is so radical about that?
Nothing.
What is so over the moon, insane, crazy? What's un-American about that?
Yeah, it's like, hey, we're wanting a better life for everybody. And they're like, that's just fucking socialism. Well, guess what Social Security is?
Oh, no.
Guess what your roads are?
Guess what? Yeah. If you don't like socialism, never drive on a freeway again.
Yeah.
Don't call the cops. Don't call the fire department. Don't call the army or any military.
Yeah.
Don't get your mail from the postal service. I mean, there are 75 programs currently active in the United States today that are paid for by socialism.
Yeah. And I don't know. And here's the thing, I love my late father to death, but this is, I think, a very strong indication of most of the people on that side. My dad, back in 2004, 2005, had a shit ton of left-leaning socialist views. But when Fox News started painting all of that stuff as evil socialism, he flip-flopped on everything. Started, having right-leaning beliefs. Seriously, that was a lot of it. Back when, everybody wanted affordable health care. They wanted, they wanted all of these things that are considered socialist. But then when Fox News painted it as evil, suddenly everybody's like, oh, okay, we don't want that anymore.
And see, here's the thing. I mean, I'm more of a centrist, truth be told. Okay? Because there's some of the stuff on the right that I can agree with. States' rights. Okay? Which I loved because every time one of these states came up, they would say, well, this state didn't do it right. Well, according to the Constitution, this state gets to determine how they run their election. And you can't say shit about it. Texas suing Georgia was the most unconstitutional thing that you could have happen.
Yeah, I know.
Okay? It's each state determines how they, per the Constitution, each state determines how they run their elections. So for one state to try to tell another state how to run their elections is a blatant violation of the Constitution, which is why the Supreme Court kicked it out.
Yeah, and here's the thing. The right, at this point, the conservative population, are hardcore constitutionalists unless it hurts them politically.
And unless it goes past the Second Amendment, because they don't know anything past the Second Amendment.
Yeah. They seriously like do not like they believe in the Constitution as long as it benefits them.
Hello.
Yeah, Amber just walked into the hornet's nest.
So
anyway,
but I mean, so it goes back to there's
actually sent you a message. Don't acknowledge me on stream.
Oh, sorry.
So
well,
I didn't send you that.
I didn't get that message. So that.
sorry.
But there's this comedian I listen to named Steve Hofstetter. Okay, he said it best. You can defend the Bill of Rights if you can get past the second one. Because right now the majority on the right is like First Amendment, Second Amendment. Oh, I'm kind of tired. If you can't talk to me about defending the Second Amendment unless you can tell me what the Seventh Amendment says.
What does the Seventh Amendment
say? The Seventh Amendment says that any legal matter in the United States that has anything to do with a monetary amount over $20 can be taken to a full jury trial.
Really?
Or maybe it doesn't. You don't know.
Oh.
But no, actually, that is what the Seventh Amendment says. It says that any matter over that involves a monetary amount of over $20 can be taken to a. So, for example, and this is how it would work. Let's say you get a ticket, right?
Okay.
Okay. That ticket's $80. You go to court. You could, in theory, invoke your Seventh Amendment right to have a jury trial for that ticket.
Oh. I kind of wonder if I could have done that with that federal ticket I got to play Pokemon Go after dark in the battlefield.
Yes, you could have. Because if it was over $20, you have the right to a full jury trial.
Interesting. Now, Zero, wait.
Zero's like...
So, I mean, there's been a lot of... this has been a crazy week. 2021...
Yeah, I'd like to return my 7-day free trial of 2021, please. It came with way too much insurrection.
Well, a lot of the stuff that, probably the last 60 days of last year, especially my buddy Alex that I play Warzone with, he was telling everybody, he was like, look, everybody's saying we can't wait to get 2020 over with. Y'all seem to think that like this magic switch is gonna flip at midnight on the 31st of December, but no, this has just been business as usual. This is like 2020, like the DLC or something.
No, it's there's two things. It's 2021 WON, or Jesus. We have entered into 2020 2.0, or 2021 has finally said, you know what? Y'all thought 2020 was bad? It's only been 10 days. Hold my fucking beer.
It was funny because we shared a meme the other day that was like, it has like the smiling guy, and then like the second picture is him like with like the oh shit look, and the first one said December 31st, 2020, and then the second one said Super December 31st, 2020 Turbo. It was like the. It was like the Street Fighter logo.
I saw one like that, except it was December 31st, 2020, and then it was like January 1st, 2020 Enhanced Edition.
Yeah, or like December 37th. But yeah, this has been a time unlike any time that I've been alive, and I'm 37 freaking years old at this point, and we're having. Riots at the U.S. Capitol.
And not just at the U.S. Capitol. There were riots at several Capitol buildings across the entire country.
Yeah, they weren't publicized as much. And here's what's messed up? There have been so many things that have happened over the past 4 years. Okay, it's almost on a daily basis. Things that any other time in history would have made front page news. It's time to investigate the president. Yet
it hasn't.
That kind of stuff has become the norm.
Yes.
Like now it's like, but the bad part is everybody's looking at that side. Everybody's like looking at Trump, and they're like, oh, that's just Trump. But then if you turn around and like let's say we had Biden
doing the same thing.
Do just one thing. If Biden put out a tweet that said, Fox News is fake news. Oh my God, it would be the front page of the paper.
I just had this mental image, like a 90s or 80s sitcom where, like, you know, like you've got this little kid running around and he does something really crazy and their parents are just like, that's just Trump.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is, because, you know, everybody else is held to a higher standard than him, and that's not right.
Because again, it goes back to the fact that he is a con man, he is a grifter, he has sold these people the fact that he is, and they even say it, he is God's gift to America. God sent Trump for America.
God bless President Trump.
No,
that's what they say. That's what I hear on Twitter all the time.
They also say God sent Trump.
Yeah.
I'm not the most religious person on the face of the earth, but I do know enough that God has absolutely nothing to do with Donald Trump.
Yeah, God's like, that's not on me, y'all.
Other than to be looking down from heaven and going, his mother should have swallowed him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
The fact that Twitter has finally... So here's the thing. Twitter has finally taken him off... Like, all the social media platforms has finally taken him off their platforms. Too little, too late. He's already done the damage. The damage has already been done. The rot is there. The infestation is there. The conspiracy theory is there. It's done. You can't undo that. You can't, you know, it's like, it's you know, it's like sex. You can't unscrew a baby. You know, it's done.
Yeah, and like we were talking, it's crazy just how things have been, because this has been going on for like right at 5 years now, and like this has been going on for 5 years, and we.
Thanks.
And so, you know, this bullshit has been going on for 5 years. And, you know, Twitter acknowledged on numerous occasions, hey, this guy's toxic to the platform, blah, 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 but we've got a precedent that we can't remove a world leader because their tweets are, you know, important to the news cycle or whatever. And now it's taken... You know, his followers storming the Capitol, the writing was on the wall a long time ago.
We knew this was coming.
And you remember, like, Trump was wanting not long ago for, like, Twitter, Facebook, all of them to have their protections removed.
Right.
Where they would be...
The Section 230.
Yeah, they would be...
legally liable
for
stuff that's posted on their site.
If that would have passed,
they would have removed
Twitter
him immediately.
Twitter and Facebook right now would, you know, I mean, Twitter and Facebook would be going to court right now. They would be held liable for all the bullshit that happened at the Capitol.
Yep.
So I'm like, how does that even?
So here's the funny part, and I think we should probably wrap up because I know you've got stuff to do. But so the QAnon shaman got arrested. Okay, the guy that was dressed in the horns and the at the Capitol.
Yeah, that's a real winner there.
He is a QAnon conspiracy theorist. He's a leader of the QAnon party.
Yep.
And he declares himself as a QAnon shaman. Here, you want to hear the funny part of all this? He turned himself in.
Okay.
He called the FBI and said, "Where do you want me to go?"
Okay.
He got to the FBI. He talked. We were invited by the president. It was an organized group movement to overthrow the election. His words. Exactly. And that's what we're sitting with. We've got people who are on Parler who are saying that Trump did this.
Well, speaking of, Parler doesn't exist right now, which is
doesn't,
great.
Which is funny because they're all like, "Oh, the freedom of speech." It's not freedom of speech. Freedom of speech does not apply to social media.
Yep.
Okay?
We hear that a lot here on Untitled Nerd Network, because we'll have like somebody pop up and be like, "Oh, you know," they'll spout off some racist or sexist nonsense. We ban them, and then somebody gets mad. We get an email or something. They're like, the freedom of speech still exists in America, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. Freedom of speech does exist in America, but it does not exist on Facebook. It does not exist on Twitter, YouTube. Yeah. That is how come that if we don't like what you... Yeah.
Did the government fine you or censor you for something you said? No. then your freedom of speech wasn't affected. You were just being a dick. Did the government censor or fine you? Yes. Then your First Amendment rights were violated. That's how you tell the difference.
Basically says that Congress can pass no law, hindering your freedom of expression.
Basically, it works down to this, okay? If you walk into a building and you yell fire,
yeah,
okay, and you cause a riot, okay, you suffer from that, okay? If the United States government fines you for that, then your First Amendment has. It's if Congress, you're right, it goes back to Congress. If Congress does something because of something you said, then it's a violation.
That's how come you can't tell somebody that you're going to kill them.
Right.
That's
that just falls under threat and battery, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but it isn't protected under free speech. You can't just say anything you want.
Well, you can. You just have to face the consequences when you say it. And on that note...
It's just like I could take a leak in the floor right now, but you know what? I'm going to face consequences.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you would get beaten to death by somebody.
Which, taking a leak in the floor is basically what the Trump supporters have been doing for the last couple of weeks.
And they actually smeared feces on the walls of the Capitol.
They literally did that. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there to smell it. And I'll go ahead and tell you, having worked before in the prison system.
Oh, yeah, no.
I'll go ahead and tell you that smeared feces on the wall, there is no worse smell because it will spread the length of like 4 football fields until you clean it up.
And then even it lingers after you clean.
Yes, for like a day. Like, people will be coming in the next morning thinking, what the hell was that smell?
So, I'm stealing that. Like, what are you stealing like a lectern, Jackson?
Oh, it's just something that we said earlier.
Okay.
It was like towards the beginning of the podcast.
But, at any rate, I think we should probably cut it there.
Yeah.
Because if not, we'll ramble on for Lord knows how long.
I can do that.
And
also Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell. That does have a ring to it.
That's my favorite thing right there.
Yes. I think they ought to make Bernie Sanders the Senate Majority Leader.
They probably will. Well, I mean, they're gonna have to have a vote on it, but
he deserves it. Yeah,
I would say Bernie needs to be either that or it will be
really.
It'll be Kamala. No, Kamala still won't be able to do it.
Really, really quick. I think one of the main things that we got wrong this time as a Democratic Party, I really think it sucked to have Nancy Pelosi reelected as Speaker of the House. I think the Democratic Party needs new leadership to reflect their new directions. Having the same old people that have been part of the party for 30, 40 years, which I know that's weird, seeing as I just said that, Bernie Sanders ought to be Senate Majority Leader, but he...
Well, if not Bernie, then who?
Yeah, well, see, Bernie has the well-being and the confidence of the youth movement.
And then, if not Nancy, then who? Klobuchar?
She hasn't been in it long enough, but AOC.
AOC, yeah. Oh God. Or Warren? No, Warren's a senator.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be upset with Warren being majority leader. I like her.
I wouldn't either.
I mean,
that's doable. It's like I said, we don't agree. There's not a single politician out there that I agree with 100%. There's always going to be a key issue or two that I don't agree with. Like, I don't agree with Bernie. Like, I took one of those tests,
right,
where you have to go through and answer like 100 questions. And there were like 2 different things. I think one of them was like maybe prison reform or something like that Bernie I didn't agree with him on, but it wasn't, it's not like a lot of people can look at Democrat, like people on the right look at Democrats. Oh, I agree with that. 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 Like, I agree with like 98 of 100 things, but oh my God, they're pro-abortion. I can't vote for them.
So here's going back to your earlier question. What can we do?
Yes.
To break this divide. And it's something that I told a friend of mine, because I've got a friend of mine who is on the right. She's not alt-right, but she's on the right.
Yes.
Diehard Trump supporter, the whole 9 yards. And I told her, I was like, look, we disagree on candidates. Okay? I'm willing to bet you money, hard money, that if we sat down and went issue by issue, we are either more in agreement than you think we are, or we are closer than you think we are. And that's the thing. Everybody thinks it goes back to the Richard Jeni thing. You've got the people who are on the far, far right. They're insane. You've got people who are on the far, far left. They're insane. Most people are right in the middle.
Yeah.
And lean one way or the other.
You've got your fringe 10% on each side far, and then the 80%.
But she and I sat down, and the first topic we talked about was abortion. And it turned out that we were a lot closer on just that one topic than you would have thought.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking forward to actually sitting down and talking more topics with her. But I think that's where it has to do. If you're going to sit down, like if you've got a friend who's on the other side, you're going to sit down and you're going to have a conversation with them, then the first rule has to be, we are not here to talk candidates. We are here to talk positions. We're going to take it one position at a time and see where our disconnect is.
God, that might make a good broadcast. I think that'd be kind of neat. Anyway. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and hop off. Well, that's going to be it for today. I'm going to be on at some point during the week playing some video games and stuff, really just on the work schedule. So I guess we'll see everybody. Mark, we're going to have you on a little more often. Cause, yeah, I know. It's just getting schedules together and making...
I'm off every Sunday.
Okay.
And
all right.
The only thing I've got going on right now on Sundays is I've got a role-playing game that I start at 7:30 on Sunday nights. So
okay. Awesome.
Anytime before then.
Well, all right. Everybody have a good rest of the day. I'm Lonnie.
I'm Mark.
We are Untitled Nerd Network. This has been State of the Nerd Union. Oh, gotta get that mouse working. And it dead on me. All right. Y'all have a good rest of the day.
Good night, everybody.